Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and today we're going to talk about alignment and the importance of alignment. And we are going to look into one specific ayat from the Quran that you'll have heard before. It's very famous, and you've probably even quoted it before or tagged it or done something on your social media with this specific quote from the ayat from the Quran because it is very meaningful. However, you have probably only done it with one specific outlook for this specific ayat, and I would like to introduce a new perspective to this ayat today. So the ayat that we're looking at is from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 286, and it's just the beginning part of it where it says, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. I know you've heard this. This is one of those things that we all quote to our friends and relatives and whoever when they're going through a difficult time. We're like, you know what, Allah trusts in you. You can do this because He wouldn't give you more than what you can handle, right? And it's a lovely thing to say to people, and also it's the truth, right? So we know that we can bring that comfort to say, well, if Allah trusts you to get through this, then I trust that you can get through this, and you should trust you can get through this even though it feels difficult, right? Now, when it comes to the law of attraction, I've spoken about this a ton of times, specifically over on my TikTok, and a lot of people have had questions about this and how do I get in alignment with the thing that I want to attract, right? So in order for you to attract something, we understand that the law of attraction is like attracting like. So one thing attracts the exact same thing from the universe. This is not the universe having any ability to give you blessings and grant your wishes. This is just a property of the universe that Allah has given it, so it's like a gift to the universe from Allah that says, hey, you can do this thing, okay? So, whatever vibrations you get from a person, you can send more of that back to them, okay? So this is not, the universe making decisions on our behalf or doing anything beyond what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed it to do. However, if like attracts like, then of course, we have to align ourselves with the thing that we want in order to attract more of it. So if we want to attract love into our life, we have to radiate love. And while it's difficult when we're looking for a relationship, a husband or whatever, is that it can be difficult to be like, well, how can I love a husband if I don't have a husband? Well, you can love your family, you can love your siblings, you can love your friends, you can love on strangers, you can, love your ability to love, and be grateful for your ability to share love and wanting to share love. So there's a lot of ways that you can align yourself with the vibration of love, right? And then you can get it. So just because you're sending it out in one way doesn't mean that you're not going to get it in a different way. Loving your family doesn't mean you're going to get more love from your family. It means love's going to come from every direction of your life, okay? So coming back now to the ayat, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. And in terms of the law of attraction, if Allah does not burden a soul with more than it can bear, why would He bless a soul with more than it can bear? Because if He does that, it is no longer a blessing. It becomes a burden, right? And again, I just invite you to look at this ayat from a different perspective, because I think we're so used to looking at it from this perspective of He's encouraging us when it's bad, but He's also encouraging us to strive. And the Quran speaks about us striving a lot of times. I can't remember it right off the back of my hand right now, okay? But trust me when I say, trust me, look in your own Quran, or, let me know, and then I'll share some verses on TikTok or Instagram if you don't trust me. But if I could speak, I would say that the Quran and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to us in this dunya for us to strive to be better people, to be a good servant to Him, to do better, be better, want better. Okay, that's a part of the Quran. So why shouldn't He also say, strive to be better so I can bless you with better? Again, as I said, a blessing, if you cannot manage the blessing, it'll take more out of you than it gives you, and then it becomes a burden. And we find this quite often if, for instance, and I'm just going to throw some examples out here, and you might be like, oh, I've never met that person. That's fine. You don't have to. The person who gets a raise or a promotion at their job, but the promotion comes with more responsibility. So while they're making more money, They're also now, spending less time with their family. They are working overtime more and more. They're more stressed. They don't sleep as well. They have more anxiety about meeting deadlines and so on and so forth, because maybe they weren't ready for that level up. And so while it might look like a blessing from the outside, if you're not ready for that up leveling, then it's not going to be a blessing anymore. It's going to be a burden. Some people see this within their families. If they're not quite ready to have children, let's say, you've met a person and the person wants children, and you think, you know what, I'll learn on the way, but I don't feel ready for it yet. And then you go ahead and you have children, but you're not ready for the blessing of having a child. So you're struggling, and you're struggling a lot. And listen, by the way, nothing wrong with that. A lot of mums and dads and parents in general will struggle because I think there's definitely a societal underplay of what it actually requires to be a parent. And maybe we should teach people that it's a massive responsibility, because I think some people may be kind of underplaying it a little bit too much. Anyway, the point is that even the things that a lot of us think of like, oh, that's such a blessing, wow, you're so lucky, if we're not aligned with that blessing, or to receive that blessing, it is no longer a blessing to us. It becomes a curse almost. We feel like burdened by the responsibilities of it. We don't know where to place it anymore. We don't know what to do with ourselves. It's the same thing with money. You'll see some people who, I've heard stories, so like, don't come for me, but I've heard stories of people who are like, yeah, and then I got a ton of money, but then it just brought a lot of curse with it, or like a lot of downfall with it, because people were using me for it. So I lost friends, or the tax man came in and took everything, or I started gambling because I felt like I could get more money, or there'll be something that again will drain it if it's not the right time for your blessing, or if you are not aligned with that blessing. And this is why I speak about aligning yourself with your manifestation time and again, because aligning yourself with it is something that you can do to make sure that when the blessing arrives, you can actually enjoy it rather than feel like you have to catch up with it. A blessing is not meant for you to rush with. It's not meant for you to feel like you have to start sprinting when it arrives. You're allowed to sort of just like walk at a leisurely pace and still keep up with it, right? And so the more we can align ourselves with our blessings and the thing that we're trying to manifest, the easier it'll be for us to receive it and keep it in the long term, or for however long Allah decides that we have this blessing in our life before He gives us something different. Okay, so how do we align ourselves with something? Well, we do it in different ways. Number one, we work on our internal mindset, inner beliefs, our thoughts, all of these things that are going on within us, the whatever mind blocks we've set up around the things, right? So if you're trying to manifest, again, I need to get another example, but no, I'm not, because it's such a good example. Money. If you want to align yourself with more money, but your internal belief is that money makes you evil, you will subconsciously, continuously remove yourself from any situation that will earn you more money or give you more money, or it'll be very difficult for you to receive money because there's a part of you that keeps pushing it away and not quite allowing it in, making it difficult for yourself just to receive it in the first place. How many times have people tried to give you something, even if it's not money, tried to give you something, you're like, oh no, I don't need it, no, I'm good, thank you so much, but in reality you'd be like so happy to receive it, even if you're doing well. It's like gifts on your birthday. And I know that this is like just something that we do in society to cheer each other up. But how many times have you been like, I don't want any gifts? What's wrong with receiving gifts? It's a way for other people to say, hey, I appreciate you and I want to make your life easier. Of course, it doesn't mean you have to say to people they have to bring you gifts on your birthday. But I'm saying stop trying to block when people and God tries to give you something. Start being more open to receiving, be okay to receiving, be on the recipient end and say, hey, it is safe for me to receive, and it doesn't put the other person in a bad position. It doesn't make them poor. It doesn't, take anything from them. In fact, it brings them joy if they can give me something that they know is going to make my life easier. And so it's a blessing all around. Of course, don't receive from people who have less from you. If somebody is poor and they're trying to give you money, I mean, I can't really imagine in what situation that would be, but maybe that's not the right time for you to receive from them, or receive but give back and give better in return, right? But aligning yourself with it so that you work on your internal self. What kind of blockages are happening from you in order to receive the things that you want, so you can align yourself with it. Start, instead of thinking of like, oh, money makes people greedy, money makes people evil, money this, that and the other is, you know, the straight way to hell and whatever. Start saying other things. It's safe for me to earn a lot of money. It's safe for me to receive a lot of money. It's safe for me to have a lot of money and do good with the money. Money doesn't make you evil. Evil people, you know, money amplifies what is inside of you. So if you're an evil person, you become an evil rich person. But if you're a good person, you become a good rich person. Okay, so start changing the resistance within yourself so you can better align yourself with the thing that you're trying to manifest. Another thing outside of, you know, the internal alignment with your beliefs and your thoughts and your mindset, and this can take time, by the way, and it's continuous work. Remember, the law of attraction is not a one-time journey. It's a continual journey, okay? This is something that you'll probably have to do the rest of your life. Maybe not with that same belief, but, you know, new level, new devil, as they say. So every time you're trying to elevate or get something new or do something different, there's something there that you then have to work on, most likely, okay? So when, what was I going to say? Oh, I have this awful habit. I'm so sorry, guys. I have this awful habit. My brain, it farts a lot, clearly. Like, it's just like, and then I'll say something and it's so profound and meaningful, and pfft, there you go. That's what you get. It's like it has to sort of like balance itself. I'm so sorry. Yes, anyway, yes, so in terms of alignment, you can also align yourself in your external world. You can allow yourself the alignment in your external world by, for instance, and this can be done in so many ways, like it's probably endless, but I'm just going to mention a few things in terms of, for instance, attracting more money. My favorite example is if you want to attract more money because you want to live, let's say you want to be able to dress better, and you have this idea of like, okay, when I get more money, I'll only wear matching underwear. Let's be real, girls. We have our good underwear, you know, the lingerie type underwear, the like pretty underwear that we've spent a pretty penny on. Then we've got our everyday underwear, and we've got our period underwear, okay? The period underwear only comes out one time, or maybe also if we're sick or whatever. That's sort of like, that has a purpose. We don't touch that other than during that time of the month. Then we've got our everyday underwear. And listen, it's not bad, but, you know, it's not great. Like, that's not the underwear we'd wear on our honeymoon, right? Like, I'm sorry, I can just imagine, like, being on your honeymoon, and then, you know, you take your pants off, and then like a big old Batman logo. I was like, sorry, it's laundry day. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like, what would you like, the top of the line underwear that makes you feel great, or like you got a business meeting, or you got to go to a wedding or a celebration, and those are the days when you're like, wow, I want to feel great all the way down to my underwear, right? So you wear the panties and the bra that matches, you know. So one way to align yourself, that was a long-winded way of saying, one way to align yourself with sort of feeling like you deserve that life and you should absolutely align yourself with being the person who wears matching underwear, is by wearing the matching underwear. I know it sounds like a ridiculous example, but I promise you it's not. Every small thing you can do to align yourself gets you that step closer, because it's a mindset and it's an action that breeds more actions that will align you with the thing that you desire. It's also like having, let's be real, like a Joe Malone candle or a diptyque candle, or one of those candles that basically cost, you know, a newborn baby, and it smells amazing, but we keep sort of not wanting to light it because we keep thinking that's a good candle. That has to be like on a day when I'm like really feeling great, and I'll sit down and I'll put music, I'll get my mask on and make my nails and whatever. And we never get to that point, really. Well, sometimes we do, I suppose. But like, and even then, we're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna light it right now. It requires an even more special moment. And ultimately, we end up not lighting any of it. I can't remember what book it was, but I read a book once about how, and it was like a book about law of attraction and things, about this person who is again, for the life of me, I can't remember who it is, but there's one book and one coach or guru or whatever you want to call it, who talks about their mother passing, and they had to go and clean their mother's house. And in every cupboard and in every, drawer and wardrobe they would open, they would find all the good china, all the good clothes, all the good towels, all the good candles, like all the things that are like, this is for a special moment. And then the mother passed and she never got to use any of those things, or if she did, she barely ever used it. And it's like a restriction from our end that says it requires something for us to be able to put in that effort for ourselves. And can you see, just from me explaining it and saying this right now, how much blockages in that action there is towards having a good life where you are also allowed and it's safe for you to enjoy luxuries in your life, especially if you're trying to manifest more money or just a life of luxury. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with either one of them. There's nothing that says if you have a life of luxury, you can't be a good Muslim, by the way. Just a lot of people think that, but that's definitely not the case. But can you see how much restriction there is in that way of thinking? That I can only light these candles or use this china or wear matching underwear or, I don't know, wear my good shoes or my fancy dress or whatever. I mean, I'm not talking about the big glittery ball gown. Unless, hey, listen, it's your life. Do whatever makes you happy, right? But it's about, instead of waiting for something to happen, you just make it happen. Start feeling great about it today. Start using the things that you enjoy today. Why wait? And ultimately, and here I'm going to be a little bit morbid, none of us know when it's our last day. So why would we want to wait? The wait is not promised. Like, we're not promised the tomorrow, right? So why wait with these things? And then trust that the more you're aligning yourself with these things, the more that you choose to burn the expensive candle, to feel good in some matching underwear, and to use the fancy china, and to use the soft towels instead of the scratchy ones that have been bleached and dyed and washed in, the 90-degree cycle over and over again for the last 5 years. Do these things for yourself, because these things elevate also your mindset. It makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good things. And when I'm talking about good things, I'm not talking about, you go out and feed the homeless. You can absolutely also do that. But I'm talking about you do good things for yourself. And every time you do something good for yourself, you're elevating your vibration. I am deserving. I am worthy. I am allowed these things in my life. And what do you think that will result in? Vibrationally, you'll get more of the good things in your life. Okay, that is the law of the attraction. That is how the universe has been programmed to react in terms of how you live your life. And that, of course, as I said, is a gift from Allah to the universe and ultimately to us. So I invite you, when I'm talking about aligning, to look at your life and look at all the different ways that you can align yourself with it. And sometimes it is, well, first and foremost, and again, it's a progressional journey. It's going to take time, right? Start with your inner work. And while you're doing the inner work, because it's going to take time, start looking at your external work that you have to do. Maybe it's decluttering, maybe it's putting the fancy sheets on the bed, maybe it's wearing slightly higher heels when you go out because it makes you feel good, maybe it's washing your hair 2 times a week instead of 1 time a week. I don't know how often you wash your hair, but I wash mine like once a week. Maybe also why it looks like a mess the rest of the week. But the point is, do the things that you keep postponing for that moment when. The when is already here. You're already living in the when. You are just choosing to postpone it every time you choose something less than. Every time you go for the Snoopy underwear. Nothing wrong with Snoopy, by the way. Nothing wrong with Snoopy underwear from H&M. We've all been there, and some of us are still there. But, and it's a big but, in some fancy underwear. Choose the fancy underwear if you want to choose the fancy underwear. Stop feeling like you have to have, 50 pairs of undies. You can also just have 2 weeks worth of undies and they all match. You're perfectly allowed to have less than what you have now, but have better quality of it. Have something that makes you feel good and use it. And you don't have to make an excuse for it. You're allowed to live your best life now. So align yourself with the thing. And again, I encourage you to, I would ask of you to start looking and reflecting slightly different on the ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah, where it says, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. because there is certainly something in there. When I read it, I don't just read, he wouldn't put anything negative on you, but he also won't bless you with the good thing if you're not ready for that blessing, because it will become a burden. 100% will become a burden. If you're not ready to receive the manifestation, he will not give it to you yet. So put yourself in a position where you're aligned with it, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see, hey, she's working for it, she's thinking differently about it, her mindset is at the right place, she is totally and incredibly capable and able right now to receive the blessing, so I'm going to give it now. Or, you can just choose to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, but which, it's up to you. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you want to do it, go for it. Have fun. See where that gets you in life. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Yeah, so let's not do that. Anyway, I hope there was something beneficial for you in this episode. Do let me know. Let me know when you're hearing these episodes. Also, feel free, by the way, I'm never doing any of these things. Feel free to leave a review, share this podcast with anybody that you think might benefit from hearing it as well. Leave a review because it does help, not necessarily me, because I don't think the reviews in and of itself does anything for my podcast, but it will help anybody who stumbles upon my podcast to see what you guys think of it. So if you have, a minute to spare, feel free to give however much you want to give in star rates or whatever it is. I should probably have looked into that so I could have said that a little bit more eloquently, but you know what it is. And share it on your socials, share it with that special person, and help me get this out to more people, inshallah. I hope you will have an amazing rest of your day. And until next time, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.